I've been researching about lean and operational excellence, and especially the Toyota production system for now more than 20 years. And there's a lot of interesting questions that one think about. What is lean? What is operational excellence? And today, I'm going to elaborate a little bit about the question, what is continuous improvement? What is the foundation of that philosophy? One could argue that it's a method, but there are some founding principles behind continuous improvement that I would like to share. And the first story that I would like to share, it came to me at a conference. I was then in the board of directors of Lean Forum, which is a non-profit organization in Sweden, and they are spreading and contributing to developing the concept of lean and spreading it to Swedish companies and organizations. And every year they have a large conference. And I don't remember when this was, but approximately 15 years ago, maybe 2010. We have invited a legendary professor, namely Professor Liker. He's the author of the Toyota Way. So he was the Brad Pitt of all lean conferences at that time, and we got hold of him. So he came and gave a fantastic keynote speech, and I was lucky enough to be one of the ones that had opportunity to sit next to Mr. Brad Pitt or Professor Liker, because in our world, he was one, and he is one of the greatest gurus. So, and I can tell it's one thing to be standing on the stage, but he was amazing to have at the dining table because he had so many amazing stories. And during the dinner, I don't know if he remembers it, but I said, "Hey, Professor Liker, I have a question for you." And he looked at me and I said, "You have been researching about Toyota and lean for your whole career. Maybe you're one of the few in the world that has such an extensive experience regarding what lean is, and especially the Toyota production system is." So I asked him, if you had to explain to me easily, what is lean? And I remember that he put down his knife and his fork, and he looked at me and he said, "I'm going to give you a story, Niklas." And that captures my view of what lean is. And he brought up a story about a legendary Toyota sensei. His name is Oba-san. I've never met him, and I don't know if this is actually the picture of him, but I Googled legendary Toyota sensei and I found this picture. So he was one of the internal gurus at Toyota who spread the Toyota production system. He saw every single problem as an opportunity to find the root cause and to really understand how can we improve given this problem. Anyhow, this story is about Oba-san. And it was about the company. Jeffrey Liker told me it was a company that had been working with lean for many, many years. And they were considered to be the best in class, a role model within their industry. But they felt that there must be something more. What is the next step for us? Because everyone considered, like, if you want to understand lean, go to that company, have a company visit, talk with their top management. But they felt, well, of course we can spread our knowledge and inspire others, but we want to take the next step. So they've heard about the legendary Oba-san, so they flew him in. And as soon as he landed, Professor Liker told me that Oba-san said to the company, "Show me your factory." And they're like, okay. So they took him to the factory. And Oba-san, he started to ask questions and questions and questions. And they tried to answer, of course, but he continued with hundreds of questions. And they're like, how? This is challenging. And after some time, they said, like, "Hey, Oba-san, what do you think? Is this lean?" And he looked at them and he said, "Impossible to say." And they're like, okay. And he continued to ask questions and questions and questions. And at lunch, they asked him again, "Oba-san, what do you think? Is this lean?" And he mumbled some in Japanese, I don't know. It's impossible to say, he said. And then he continued and asking hundreds of questions. And by the end of the day, the CEO of the company came up to Obasan and he said, "Hey, Obasan, we asked you to come here to give us a valid evaluation, to do an assessment of our operations and to give us some clear improvement suggestions. So I would like to have some kind of response from you. So what do you say? Are we lean?" And Obasan looked at him and he said, "It's impossible to say because I wasn't here yesterday." I hope that I capture this story. It's 15 years ago when Professor Leiker told it to me, but it has really been inside my heart because I think it really captures what the Toyota production system is or what operational excellence is all about. It's impossible to say because I wasn't here yesterday. One could think that he was a smart consultant, wanted to sell one more day, but that wasn't the case. I'm just kidding here. It's impossible to say because I wasn't here yesterday. The way I interpret this story, and I've made this slide, is that this company they were considered to be the number one within their industry. If you look at the axis here, they were on top there. They were performing high profitability, fantastic quality, short lead times. They were the role model. The other ones, they didn't perform as well. And they felt, what can we do in order to take the next step in our delivery? But Obasan said, it's not about the absolute level. It's about something else. So he said, it's about learning and it's about continuous improvement. So if he could come here at day one and see, this is how the company is operating now, and he could come back day two, and he sees that they have improved something. Either it could be a lagging indicator like quality, productivity, lead time, or safety, or they have improved something within their operations, how they measure performance, how they manage their flows, how they make sure that their resources are in the right state. They have improved or changed something. That is what he was looking for. If they have learned something. So it's not about the absolute level, it's about taking small steps. It's to build a capability to always improve. It's not about finding the big fish. It's about teaching a capability how to fish. So I think this is really interesting. How can you develop a capability where you always learn or where you implement continuous improvement? That's the essence. What is that capability all about? And I had opportunity to be with the number one Toyota researcher of all time. At least according to me, he is the, maybe not Brad Pitt, but he would be Watanabe Ken, you know, the samurai in the Tom Cruise film, The Last Samurai. I mean, Fujimoto Sensei, I got to know him in 2004, 2005, and then he invited me to be a guest researcher at the University of Tokyo between 2006 and 2008. And he's the smartest person I've ever met. Completely wonderful, crazy. He could have a lecture, just stand talking for hours, 3-4 hours. And it was like 2 hours too late. We had the lecture between 3 and 5. At 7, he's like, oh, maybe we're a little bit late. Completely fantastic. The true academic. I love him and he has taught me so much. He's very generous, but he has so much to capture. And he has captured so much, but what he said, I asked him the same question. You have been studying. He was the one who opened up the doors to Toyota in the 70s and the 80s so people could research from outside. And he said, Toyota's sustained competitive advantage stems from its capability building capability. And it's the same thing. It's about the capability to build capabilities. That is the essence, and that is the same thing as Obasan. Fantastic. Fujimoto, I love you. I mean, I think that's the real essence, capability building capability. So the way I have been trying to explain what continuous improvement is all about is that this is a simple picture. It could be any organization or company. We have our current ways of working, and this is our current results. Very simple. A snapshot. This is what our company look like right now. What all companies want, they want to develop their ways of working so they can develop better results. And what operational development is of course to implement continuous improvement in the way we change our ways of working. And if we do that, then we can implement continuous improvement in our results. I mean, if you look too much on the right side here, I mean, we can't implement a happy customer or short lead times or high quality. It's impossible to change. That's a lagging indicator. We need to look at the leading indicator, meaning if we want to change our results or our performance, we need to develop a capability to continuous improvement, to change our ways of working, to develop new routines, to develop new tools, to develop better ways of working. How can we collaborate better? How can we have smarter handovers? How can we align within goals? That is what continuous improvement is all about. And as a last reflection exercise, I want you to think, what does this mean? If the purpose is to improve, or if the purpose is to learn, how do we need to perform an activity? Imagine that you have a customer meeting. One purpose is to have a good customer meeting, but if the purpose is to have a customer meeting in order to be able to the next time, when you have a similar customer meeting, you would be able to deliver the customer meeting a little bit better. Or if you produce the product, and the purpose was to produce the product so you could gain experience and knowledge, so the next time you produce that product, you could do it a little bit better. What does it take to get that mindset into your whole organization? The purpose is to learn. The purpose is to drive continuous improvement. The capability, building capability. I hope that you've gotten some kind of value from these stories from Jeffrey Liker, Oba-san, and Fujimoto Sensei. Thanks a lot.